all bets are off with regard to the timing of karmic cycles. The wheels of karma turn, as we see in our healing practices.
That's right. It just might not be as fast as
it should be to be effective as a training tool.
Exactly.
Which makes the spirit world look bad, somebody's saying.
Yeah,
they just look incompetent, and who in their right mind would ever invite in the spirit world again?
And what that sounds like is a presence who may have been affiliated with planet Earth at the time of the original deal that was made between the nature realms and the spirit world for spirit world presences to be affiliated with planet Earth.
And it hasn't worked at all. And it was worth a try. The experiment was worth a try. Let's see if the spirit world can, in fact, lift a species into an actual civilized way of being. And the experiment shows that the way they went about it didn't work.
That's true.
And we need more karmic cycling. And everybody keeps saying 100 years ago is when it went off track, which is around 1919,
Yeah, that's true.
15 maybe, right around then, when it went off track. Possibly, we don't know. Whatever we are thinking is wrong. But it might have to do with how humanity didn't effectively change course at the end of the Great War.
That could be.
Maybe that's just a guess.
That's a good guess.
And we understand that correlation and causality are two different things. Maybe it was something about the discovery of penicillin. You know, it could be so many different things. Pasteurization, right? Some agricultural, quote, improvement, unquote, that wasn't an improvement. It could have been indoor plumbing, which is near and dear to our hearts. There were a lot of things going on 100 years ago. And let's not pretend that we know what they're talking about.
That's true.
But we do know that about 100 years ago, things went off track.
That's right.
It's possible they're talking about population, because right about then humanity passed the $2 billion human mark on the planet.
That's true.
And didn't stop procreating or slow the pace. And all you have to do is stretch out the generations. Don't have babies when you're 20. Have them when you're 35.
That's
and there's almost a generation that's gone.
That's right.
And it slows things down. And don't have lots of kids. And we look at multiple religious institutions that bear a lot of karmic responsibility for the population explosion with their jockeying for position.
Exactly.
Make new Catholics.
Exactly.
Make new Muslims.
Exactly.
Make new Hindus, etc.
Exactly.
We don't need to do that. We've got plenty of humans.
That's true.
For whom is the message? And why do you ask?
It's very quieting. Someone is circling back around again to this topic that came up at the start of the session about the hijacking of lives or attempted hijacking of lives.
I hear that. The astral lawlessness.
That's what he's talking about. Okay. And he might be in a room higher than the other room. The voice is fainter.
It's a quieter room.
Yes.
It looks like an academic room, like a studious presence's room.
Yes.
And this hawk keeps circling.
Oh, fascinating. That's not a mistake.
No. And hawks often are a signal of Ra.
That's true.
And Ra is often a studious presence.
No, that's true.
He often is an academician. We're just noticing that.
Yeah.
For him is the message. Why do you ask? What do we do about this astral lawlessness?
That's
Tell us
really
what to do.
a good question.
We're interested.
It's very opening.
It's very opening. We see somebody else is speaking up now. The microphone has shifted to kind of like the cheap seats.
Yeah.
And they're saying we see no way around implementing instant karma for the worst of the worst, the ones with the most destructive capacity. And they're talking about how humanity is misinterpreting who the worst of the worst are that
That's
it
true.
isn't the black men on death row. Those aren't the worst of the worst.
Nope.
It's the white men in the corporate boardrooms who are leading the charge to planetary destruction.
That's right.
And obviously they're making generalizations of both race and gender, but we think that if you were to examine statistics, those generalizations would hold up by and large.
That's true.
It's not that everybody on death row is a black man, and it's not that everybody in the corporate boardrooms is a white man, but if you've ever been in corporate boardrooms, as this body mind has, you'll find most of them are white men.
That's true.
I think they're literally talking about race and gender now, and destructive capacity, but they're kind of walking down the hall talking to each other about race,
true.
gender, and destructive capacity. And they seem to be talking only about humans as best I can tell.
That's true.
Okay.
All right.
How may we be of service to implement instant karma for the worst of the worst, those who are leading the parade of destruction? How may we be of service? And we're not asking that only they have instant karma. Please don't
No.
take away our instant karma.
That's right.
We apologize to many viewers who have been asking good questions that we have been unable to get to. We have managed to get very behind in our work,
That's true.
and we apologize for the delay. And there are some questions about instant karma that have not been responded to.
That's true.
And I think the short version is you can tell if you are having instant karma being implemented in your life, because after you do or think a bad thing, something bad happens.
That's true.
It's really pretty clear cut. For whom is the message, and why do you ask? And they're talking, I think, about the level of announcement of displeasure by divine presences. In other words, how bad should the repercussions be? And now they're kind of at the coffee bar in some room, and they're just chatting amongst each other,
Yeah, that's true.
talking about how bad the repercussions should be. And somebody above all of them is saying, please remember that what you're trying to do is provide a teaching moment to everybody else. You're trying to provide guidance to the masses by implementing instant karma, for the worst of the worst, and therefore you get the biggest bang for your buck by having the outcomes be cartoonishly bad.
That's true. Very extreme.
Very extreme. Like have an explosion go off in the boardroom during BP's annual meeting is just an example. Not that we're
not
trying
saying
to suggest that anybody do that. That is not what we're saying.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But that if something like that occurs, it's possible other humans would say, oh, wow, that looked like the hand of God.
Yeah.
That's crucial, that it must be an act of God,
That's right.
not an act of terrorism. An
That's
act of
true.
terrorism is not the same as an act of God.
That's
This has
right.
to be an act of God. That's what's crucial. It needs to be an act of God. And now we've got people arguing that if God inspires
somebody to do something.
we think straight up acts of God are great.
That's true.
Have the plane blow up in midair with no known cause.
That's true.
Have the tree fall smash on the person. Just things like that. Just straight up acts of God.
That's right.
That's best. Have an enormous lava flow during their corporate retreat on Mauna Loa. Those kinds of things.
Yes.
That's perfect. Have their corporate helicopters smoosh into Long Island Sound, etc.
That's true.
Those are good. Do things like that. For him is the message, and why do you ask? I don't think they're ready to do anything.
I don't think anybody is going to do anything upstairs.
No.
They just want to talk about it.
They just want to talk about it. They're talking about it as a theoretical. It's interesting. Nobody is going to ever invite you guys into another planet again. Why would they? Like, look, this looks really bad on your records. They're not listening.
No, but it's totally
Yeah,
true.
yeah, you guys look really bad. Okay,
Okay.
right, off you go.